Let me ask you a question. What do you think will be the single largest expense that you'll pay during retirement? Some people tell me healthcare. Some tell me vacations. Almost nobody says taxes. But for many retirees, that's exactly the biggest check you'll ever write. Welcome back to the Retirement Experience. I'm Russell Slack, the founder of Guided Seasons Wealth Advisors. In all of my years of financial planning, I have found very few people who know just how much they will give the government over their lifetime. Very few people have an effective approach on how to reduce it. See, I recently sat down with a couple in their early 60s who had saved a substantial amount for retirement, and they had worked hard. They had no debt, both had significant pensions, both had Social Security, and not a lot of need for withdrawals from their investments. They were proud of what they had accomplished, and honestly, they should be. As we were reviewing everything, I asked them a simple question. Have either of you ever calculated how much of these retirement accounts actually belongs to the IRS? You see, I could actually show them just how much their federal tax payments increases when they turn 73 when their required minimum distributions kick in. Almost everything they had accumulated was sitting inside of traditional IRAs, and the taxes had simply been deferred, not eliminated. And at that moment, the conversation changed. How do we manage that? They said. And to me, that's one of the most important questions in retirement planning. How do we manage that? Here's the bad news. There are only two certainties in life, death and taxes. The good news is with proper planning, you can make both better. The challenge is that retirement taxes rarely arrive all at once. Instead, they show up over time. And so let's talk about the five big tax explosions that you'll face in retirement. And each one is costly on its own, but together they compound into a fairly large tax bomb. Explosion number one, required minimum distributions. For many successful retirees, this becomes one of their biggest burns in retirement. Think about what you've all been told for decades. Max out your 401k, contribute to your IRA, take the tax deduction, keep saving. And all of that is good advice until one day the IRS comes knocking at your door and says, it's time. Beginning at age 73, for many retirees, the government requires you to begin taking money out of most pre-tax retirement accounts, whether you need the income or not. Now imagine you've accumulated several $1 million over your career. Those required minimum distributions can become enormous. And as you age, that percentage you are required to withdraw increases. That means your taxable income increases too. And that's where the first explosion begins. Because those larger withdrawals don't just create income taxes, they often trigger other several tax issues. And even more concerning, when those retirement accounts eventually pass to your children, the current law requires most non-spouse beneficiaries to empty those accounts within 10 years. If your children are in their highest earning years, they may inherit one of the largest tax bills or tax bombs of their lives. The encouraging part is this is one of the greatest planning opportunities in retirement. With thoughtful Roth conversion, charitable giving, and coordinated withdrawal strategies, you can reduce your lifetime taxes. And based on your account size, it could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxes saved. And the earlier that you start, the more dramatic those savings can be. Because time is one of the greatest tax planning tools that we have available. So, number two, Social Security taxation is one of the most common misunderstood things in retirement. Many people just don't know how Social Security is taxed. Your benefit may be tax-free, or depending on your income, up to 85% of your benefit may be considered taxable income. Now, here's what catches people off guard. You take a little more money from your IRA, and you think that will have a minimal impact, but you fail to take into consideration that suddenly more of your Social Security becomes taxable. Your one withdrawal had a tax impact in two places, and maybe even a third with healthcare. Other decisions may be impacted too. You sell a rental, you receive an inheritance that came with a tax bill. One event starts affecting another. It's one more example of why retirement income planning is very different than simply investing. Number three. Now let's talk about something almost nobody sees coming: Medicare premiums. Now, most retirees know that they'll pay for Medicare, but what they don't realize is those premiums increase as income increases. It's called IRMAA, Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. It's a surcharge on your medical insurance. And here's the frustrating part. You make a financial decision today, but Medicare looks back 2 years when determining your premiums. A Roth conversion today, or selling a business, selling an appreciated piece of property, having a large capital gain, any one of those could increase your Medicare premiums for the next 2 years. Again, it's not that those decisions are wrong, but what if you knew what was coming 2 or 3 years in advance? Would you make different decisions today? Number four, capital gains and asset location. Now, taxes don't just come from retirement accounts. Many retirees own appreciated investments. They own real estate. They have a highly concentrated stock position that they've been building over decades. Selling those without considering the broader tax picture can create consequences that ripple through the rest of your retirement plan. It might increase your Medicare premiums. It might increase the taxes on your Social Security. It may push you into a higher tax bracket. But just as important as where your investments are held, some investments are much more tax efficient in taxable non-retirement accounts. Others are more efficient if they are held inside retirement accounts. So when we're talking about long-term capital gains, the locations of your investments can be almost as important as where the investments are themselves. Explosion number five, the widow's tax penalty. This is probably one of the most heartbreaking burdens in retirement. Imagine losing your husband or your wife. Nobody is thinking about taxes during that season of life. You're grieving the loss of your best friend, the person that you've shared your life with. Then almost immediately, your financial picture changes. One Social Security check disappears. You move from married filing jointly in your tax bracket to a more narrower single tax bracket. You lose part of your standard deduction, meaning more of your income is now taxable. Meanwhile, your expenses don't change a whole lot. You have less tax breaks, higher tax payments that require more withdrawals. You're paying higher taxes while living on less income is the result, and it truly becomes a financial burden in one of life's most difficult seasons. The good news is this can be planned for years or decades in advance by gradually building a tax-free source of retirement income before they're needed. It's gradually transitioning some of those accounts over years and decades. Well, here's what I hope that you remember from this entire video. These aren't five separate problems. They're connected. Every retirement decision affects another. Each of these retirement tax explosions is significant on its own, but together they create a much larger planning challenge because they compound into a large bomb. A required minimum distribution increases taxable income. That higher income may increase taxes on Social Security. That income may increase Medicare premiums, and the remaining tax-deferred account may eventually become the largest tax burden for your children. One decision affects the next. And that's why comprehensive retirement planning isn't simply about picking investments. It's about understanding how every financial decision affects every other part of your retirement plan. So thinking back to that couple I told you about at the beginning, when they first walked into the office, they just wanted to know one thing. Do we have enough? And by the end of our meeting, they're asking a completely different question. How do we keep more of what we've already saved? Now, to me, that's when they've realized something profound, that the retirement planning isn't just about building wealth or how much can I spend. It's about keeping more of what they've already built. It's about how much they can save in taxes if they follow these guidelines. The encouraging news is that these retirement tax explosions don't happen overnight, and most of them with this thoughtful planning can have their effects reduced significantly. Every dollar that is saved from taxes is another dollar that you keep in the family. And that's really why I love making videos like this. Our goal at Guided Seasons Wealth Advisors is simple: to help families make thoughtful financial decisions that will lead them to financial peace of mind through every season of life. If today's conversation caused you to think differently about retirement, then it accomplished exactly what I hoped for. Because better retirement decisions don't begin with better investments, they begin with better questions. Well, I'm Russell Slack. Thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with me. And until next time, be well.